The views, opinions, and representations expressed on the K-Ghost Radio Network and its website are those of the host, guest, and participants, and they are not necessarily those of or endorsed by the network, its affiliated stations and broadcast, management, or advertisers of the network. The show is found under LJA Broadcasting Network. UFO Talk Radio can, but does not necessarily promote any particular lifestyle, belief, religion, political affiliation, or other personal practice. These shows are for entertainment purposes only, and they are not intended to treat or diagnose and/or claim to cure any disease or condition, or give any medical or legal advice. All music is purchased and owned by LJA Broadcasting.
I got the windows rolled down, got the radio up, and I'm heading out of Vegas tonight. And it's a 1:30 on a 4-day run, and the desert is a welcome sight. I can see you there in that dress you wear, and it's keeping my foot on the gas. I drink a gallon of Joe just to make it back home and hold you in my arms at last.
Are you ready? What you are about to experience is real. Right along with us. From deep in the desert of Nevada, The Glenn Larry Show.
Yes, I am with you tonight, everyone. It's going to be a great show. I do bid you, I bid everyone welcome to the wonderful show, the Glenn Larry Show, UFO Talk Radio, Area 51 Talk Radio, and K-Ghost, of course. And you can hear the new bumper music I got. I love it. What can I say? Yes, I do bid you all welcome from across all the zones and from wherever you may be. The LJ Broadcasting Networks does thank you, and all the affiliates out there, the small broadcasters, the micro broadcasters, the night drivers, the ham operators, 73s, to all of you out there, and to Worldwide Radio, you guys out there, and to the Silent Key Whiskey 6000 Baker, I do thank you, K6RCL, KPFF FM, Pahrump, Nevada, great little station, KBHR 57 AM, Sitka, Alaska, great people up there, I'll tell you, got a great show. And to all the listeners all over the world, I bid you welcome. I want to thank some folks out there in Kensington Square. Yeah, she has a great little place. I was there. It's Creekside Diner. It's Kennett Square, by the way, Pennsylvania. We had a fantastic time. All the fire guys and police down there, we all got together and had a great time. EMS guys, and yeah, great lady. Check her out. Karen's a great lady, so come by and say hello to her because she does support all the EMS, so that's a great thing. And I like to see another thing too, another friend of mine out there, to the doctors and all the beautiful nurses, I'll tell you, and techs and all those folks that work in that hospital, emergency rooms, all of America, anywhere, we thank you. God bless you all for that. Yes. Well, here we are, may I say, on another Tuesday night, and I do have a guy coming on real soon. His name is Tom T. Moore, and he has several books out. This gentleman was an ECO of a small, well, not really small. He takes care of all the little small movies and the big movies, and he makes sure they get out to everybody. So when you're looking for a movie, this guy probably put it on the shelf. I don't know. He'll tell you more about that later. He's done a lot of stuff, many books, and a lot about UFOs, the real Star Wars. Going to tell us about that. The Gentle Ways, the books that he has, 1, 2, and 3. The contact with ETs, the first contact, and he's going to tell us about that. It's going to be very, very interesting, and I can't wait because this guy he knows a lot about a lot of stuff. And that's the type of people I want on this radio station, on the air. And so I'm looking forward to that. So bear with us. We'll have him very soon, right after this.
You ignore the signs, so you enable.
You don't want to sound like a hypocrite, so you enable.
You don't want to alienate your child, so you enable.
But if you think they're trying drugs, you shouldn't be afraid.
You're the parent.
So you are able.
You are strong.
So you are able.
There are others just like you.
So you are able.
And we can help. So you are able.
Get help at drugfree.org. A message from the Partnership for a Drug-Free America.
Violence, theft, drugs, graffiti. It's all part of joining a gang. In times like these, we need to protect our children and our community from gangs. Gangs often prey on unsupervised teens with low self-esteem, who perform poorly in school, who seek a sense of belonging, or are simply bored. Joining a gang often involves violent hazing rituals. Once in a gang, members can become alienated from their families, school, and friends. Drugs, guns, and malicious activity are common elements in gangs. Trying to leave a gang can be a difficult and dangerous process. The best way to get out of a gang is never to join one. Protect kids from being recruited by a gang. Know who they're hanging out with. Involve kids in after-school activities and provide positive role models. Help reduce gang activities in your community by working with local law enforcement and school systems. Don't let a kid you know get involved with gangs. Visit ncpc.org to learn more or contact your local law enforcement agency.
A message from the U.S. Department of Justice, National Crime Prevention Council, and the Ad Council.
Now, back with Glenn Larry on UFO Talk Radio, deep in the desert of Nevada.
And I have a great guest on the air tonight, I'll tell you for sure. I hope that my mic gain is better there. Gary, thank you so very much. People out there looking out for me. Yes, we have Tom T. Moore. And sir, how are you this evening?
Doing great. Thanks for having me.
Great. Good stuff. I'll tell you, I've looked at your books, and I really want to ask you, how did you get all started with all this? I mean, you've got a lot of stuff going on here.
Yeah, I'm a self-taught telepath, which sounds, I realize, weird to a lot of people, but how else are we going to be able to communicate with extraterrestrials one day when we go to the stars?
Right.
It's got to be telepathy, because we're going to be encountering bird beings, insect beings, you name it, reptilians.
Yeah.
So they aren't all going to be able to have vocal cords, not like we have. So that's I'm just kind of opening the door down the way for people to kind of view way in advance, which the scientists really are not doing yet.
No. Well, we've heard some really interesting stuff lately, to tell you the truth. Now, with this first contact with ET, can we go into that a little bit first? Is that okay? Is that going to be rhythmic with you?
Back in 2008, I in my meditations, I was communicating with Gaia, Soul of the Earth, my own guardian angel, who are actually known as golden light beings, and they like the term servants of the Creator. And I named him Theo because he says humans don't have the vocal cords to pronounce angelic names. So one day we were having a conversation, and during a meditative session, and I was asking about some ruins on the other side of the world, and he said, "You know, you're going to see those someday." And I said, "Yeah." He said, "Yeah." He said, "There's an ET tuning in to us right now, and if you'd like, he'll step in and you can talk to him." And I was in shock because I thought I was having a private conversation, and here I am on a party line. So
I remember
after I got over
those.
the shock, I said, "No, let me come up with a bunch of questions." And so 2 weeks later, I started asking him questions, and he said, "I'm under the same rules that Theo and Gaia and all are on. You have to ask specific questions. You can't say, 'Well, what do you look like?' and I tell you what I look like. You have to ask specific questions." So that's it. You know, I've asked him probably several thousand questions.
So now, Tom,
since that time.
Tom, Theo is your ET?
No, Antura is my ET. Theo is my guardian angel.
Oh, okay. I didn't. There were two involved there. Okay, good. Catching up with you.
And-
Interesting. Go ahead.
And like I said, Theo is just a name that I came up with.
Okay.
Because he said, you can call me Tom, Dick, or Harry, but Tom's going to be kind of hard in your meditation.
Yeah. So with that, this is now you met him in your mind. He didn't materialize in front of you, or
exactly.
Okay.
Yeah.
Have you ever seen one materialize in front of you?
No.
No.
It's only what happens is that when we communicate telepathically, the pineal gland in the back of our heads, and you can Google that, anyone in your audience, and you'll see where it's located, acts as the antenna to receive all types of telepathic thoughts and emotions and feelings and visions and you name it. They go through the pineal gland, and I receive what are called thought packets. Okay. And when they go into the pineal gland, which the scientists so far have only figured out that it secretes melatonin, they have not figured out it's connected to telepathy. That's something for scientists to hopefully sometime in the near future start testing out so that they can see how it works.
Interesting. With that, have you taken trips with this entity in your mind? I mean, have you gone? I have something about being on a mothership. Is that
right?
Can you tell me more about that?
No, it's supposed to happen this year.
Oh, it's supposed to happen. It has not.
It has not. In the last year or two, I've really been getting a lot more education as to what's been happening. You have to understand, there are 12 timelines. Okay, there are 12 Glenn Larrys, all right? And on the upper timelines, and timeline 12 is non-physical, so I just kind of discount that one.
Okay.
But on the upper timelines, like 11, 10, and 9, they have easier lives than we do. And inventions and good things happen on those timelines first, and then they slowly work their way down to where we're on timeline 6, the middle frequency. And so all the upper timelines, all the way from 11 down to 7, have now visited Antura's mothership and shot documentaries for 14 days on board the mothership. And they're already coming out with them in the cinemas, and there's going to be like over a 100 episode TV series that's going to be created out of all the footage. And ours, it's only my family and me, and it's going to be a 4-camera shoot. And I've had experience besides running a international film and TV program distribution business for 40 years. I have co-executive produced some super low-budget movies that you've never heard of.
Wow.
And
well, some of those become
I've
big.
At least gotten the knowledge of what to do.
Well, some of those become very big, from documentaries to you name it. And I'm seeing a lot of that happen in the industry. That's Hollywood, as they say it. But so with all this UFO stuff happening now, how do you feel about that? What can you add to all that? I hear a lot, trust me.
Sure. Okay, let me kind of give you an analogy that I just came up with. It's just kind of like one of those whispers in your ear, I call it, from my guides. And imagine that you're in a pitch black room. I mean, you cannot see the hand in front of your face. And so as you wander around the room, kind of large room, you run into something that feels like maybe it's a chair. And maybe it's something else that feels like a table. But you're not sure. Then your hand finds a wall. And you run your hand along the wall, and it's a pretty long wall. And you think, gosh, is this ever going to end? Well, about 3 feet more, there's a door. And when you try to open the door, it only opens a crack. But it's a little light coming in, and it starts shining in the room. And that's what I'm trying to give to people, to have everyone understand why these ETs are here. I have a book called Atlantis and Lemuria, The Lost Continents Revealed. And I go all the way back 10 million years. And here's where, scientists are going to have a problem, because many scientists are atheists. And as Theo tells me, atheism is simply a belief system not to believe. And so they're going to kind of drag their feet until they start seeing how much more there is to not only our universe, but there are trillions of other universes. So this James Webb telescope, they just, in the last 30 days, have found a little spot of a galaxy that's so far away, it's like a tiny, tiny little pixelated speck. And they were saying, wow. And what they're going to figure out is that galaxy, they're going to figure out, they think it's going to be 20 billion years away from us. In actuality, our universe is 25 billion years, not the 13.2 that scientists currently think. And that same James Webb telescope is going to discover that the galaxies in one part of our sky are completely different than our galaxy. And that's because that's another universe that is adjacent to ours, and they're going to discover there's a 1,000,000-mile void in between our universe and that universe. So, but there are trillions of universes, and that's when they're going to have to start thinking, well, maybe there are creators, and that's how that's.
Do you think there's one creator or just many creators?
There are many creators. There are trillions of creators, and what's amazing is that every single one of them has a different interest. They were birthed by what's called the creator of creators, who I call Big Mama, and she keeps on birthing these creators. And our creator, Theo says, would be ranked in the top 5 of all those trillions of creators. And our creator wanted to see how to work with 4 negative energies, which exist, but all these trillions of universes are all created in 10 positive energies. Okay, even our universe is created in the 10 positive. But he wanted to see if these 4 negatives could be worked with, so he asked for souls to volunteer, and our souls volunteered to have these lives completely veiled, which is why we're in this pitch black room trying to find our way around, and where all the rest of the universe knows there's a creator, and accepts that. But it's going to take a while for our scientists to get to that point. So those 2 worlds are going to come together: science and spirituality.
I won't be around for that, unfortunately, but
you never can tell.
What do you think is going to happen soon, as in our lifetime, within a couple of years, do you think?
Sure. Well, for one thing, when we get back from Antura's mothership. Antura's mothership is the same spacecraft that did the Phoenix Lights. Okay, and
didn't know that.
It's 3 miles wide. It's 20 stories tall, 11 decks. It has a crew of 900 plus their families that live their whole lives on board the ship.
Really?
They mostly come from there's on board are species of people from 37 different planets, I think it is. And most of the people on board that are the crew came from worlds where they lived underground. And that's another thing our scientists and astronomers have not figured out, is that people can live in caverns and such. And these people lived underground because of the harshness of the planet's surface.
Are theirs?
Of their. We have 20-something societies living underneath our Earth, but they have nothing to do with the Earth experiment. They don't want to have anything to do with it, and they live at a higher level of vibration. Okay, a higher dimensional level. That's like 5.3, 5.4.
My question on this ship now, these different decks. Of course, they're probably the surroundings of those different species of whatever.
Yes.
Would be their environment, correct? So deck 2 would not be like deck 4.
I have not. I've done a little bit of work on the decks. Obviously, you have one deck for all the spacecraft they use, the scout craft, and even what they call their buses.
Yeah.
Using, I guess, an English term, that when they go down to a planet to have big meetings, they'll use a bus that will hold maybe 200 or 300.
And those are the saucers that we see now, or the triangles, or what would be their shuttle buses, you think?
I don't think we've seen them unless they're. Well, first of all, they're not having any meetings on Earth that would require them using the buses. They simply use scout craft, and of course they use a lot of drones. And keep in mind, up until just the last 3 or 4 or 5 years, we didn't probably even know what a drone was.
Right.
But their drones are so highly advanced than ours, and they're typically controlled by a scout craft that can control up to 22 or more of these drones. And the drones go out and they're taking millions of readings about these 4 negative energies that we're living in. And that's what all these. There are approximately 25 motherships above the Earth. Obviously, there are masked so that they don't scare us to death. And tourist ship is one of the larger ones. As an example, the Pleiadians, theirs is not quite as large, but still pretty large. And there's this Pleiadian that monitors my conversations with Antura, and he has meetings with a group of another 4 or 5 Pleiadians, and they meet with 6 countries every single month, and all of them are sort of like scientific people that are trying to back engineer the spacecraft that crashed, all the way back into the 40s or even maybe earlier.
Beyond than that too.
And so they meet with them once a month, and they make sure that none of these countries gets ahead of the other. And I said, well, kind of how do you do that if they came up and ask you, well, about. So they say there are several or hundreds of different ways to get the same answer, and we just put them on a slow but sure path that doesn't get ahead of anybody else. So they're meeting with the United States and obviously Russia and on and on. 6 different countries once a month.
Really? Like you said,
the Pleiadians look like us.
They look like us. They say they could walk the streets. You would never know that they're here. Is that true?
Well, of course, you go back to what was his name? Thor, the guy that lived at the Pentagon for a year or so, trying to convince Congress, for peace, and it was a failure. he went back to the Pleiades as a failure. But I've got photos of him that I put in the news, my free newsletter, by the way.
Go ahead and give it out.
www.thegentlewaybook.com, and click on articles and news, and there's a Valiant Thor. There is a search box where all my weekly newsletters since 2007 are archived, and you can search for Valiant Thor and see photos, 2 or 3 photos. He came with his wife and his brother and his wife, and they had their scout ship masked in some place where nobody could find it, and they lived in Washington D.C. for a year or more. There's a book out on it, called "Stranger Among Us," I believe.
Wow, interesting. Do you see the future happening at all? I mean, with them, do they give you any type of answers about that at all? I mean, when you talk to them.
Well, okay.
I mean, what's going to happen?
Back to one thing.
Yeah.
Once we get back from that trip, my daughter, who has a film degree and worked as an editor out in Los Angeles, she and I will put together what's called a pitch deck, and we will submit it to all the large people like the Netflix and the Paramount Pluses.
Right.
Name all these. I mean,
with
go down a whole,
new information, more or less. Is that what you're going to put out? I mean, you're not going to tell us now, of course, but I mean, it will be your own film.
Well, yeah. I mean, we're going to have enough footage that will do at least 1 and possibly 2 theatrical full-length documentaries.
Okay.
And then we will have 100 of these episodes where we will. You have to understand. The ETs have been recording our history from day one. Okay. They have when they started putting bodies on the Earth. They had little drone type tiny cameras that say would be the size of a fly, but they would put them at a level just above our eyesight where we couldn't see them, but they would record every major thing that happened on Earth in the last, million years or whatever.
Right.
So we're going to have footage of Neanderthals. We're going to have footage of Cro-Magnons.
The real stuff.
The real stuff. The histories. And the histories of all the religions, which that'll be the one thing that'll get me in trouble. But
let me ask you this. Do you think some of these ships might be time travelers?
The time travelers, I'm told that we will not be able to figure out how to time travel for about 4,000 years or so. So it's pretty far in advance. And there are going to be anthropologists only that will be allowed to go back to different time periods and study these time periods. So only anthropologists will be allowed to do that.
Scientists. Well, could these time travelers be maybe scientists in these ships? These are questions that people are asking. That maybe these time travelers are scientists, seeing where we made the mistakes right now.
Probably, but I think they just want, they want to see how the twists and turns, because this explorer race experiment, this is going to end in 7,000 years, and I've been told that I'm going to have a life where I'm in charge of the final cleanup crew, that will turn the Earth back into its pristine beauty, and tourists from all over our universe, where we have taken little bits of negative energy to help them start growing again, and even the trillions of other universes, everybody's is going to want to come here, and there'll be just enough negative energy for them to feel it, but not, let's just say it might be 1% compared to our 40 or 50%.
Pretty heavy right now.
Whatever we're in right now.
Yeah.
And they're going to come here because our Earth is the jewel of the whole universe. The Creator put as many different kinds of beings on our planet as possible, so that when we start going to the stars, we won't be surprised when we find a dog planet or a cat planet, and so on.
Well, now your books you have out called The Gentle Way, 1, 2, and 3. Let's get into that real fast. Give me about a minute's worth, and we'll get into commercial and come right back with that, okay?
Okay. The Gentle Way was something that I discovered in reading a channeled article in the Sedona Journal of Emergence, and it said you can request benevolent outcomes in your life. And I said, well, that's interesting, and so I started experimenting with it, and I finally came up with a way where you can say, I request the most benevolent outcome for my drive to work today, or I request the most benevolent outcome for the perfect job for me, or the perfect mate for me, or the perfect home for me. All these different things. You have to say it out loud because our scientists have not rediscovered the power of the verbal voice. And when you say these out loud, magical things happen. And especially if you all say what's called a benevolent prayer together, it has a crescendo effect. So 100 people may be the same as 1,000 or 5,000.
Okay, now hold it with that.
Great energy.
Hold it with that thought. We'll be back. Okay? Stand by.
Mom, you wanted to talk to me?
The calendar hypnosis into thumbtack cushion, completely tailwind. And sewing elephants plant before cartoon paper cups. So numbers renovate.
If your teenager is trying drugs or alcohol, would you know the right words to use?
Afterward, lightly fish scale. Doorbell.
Find out what to say at drugfree.org. A message from the Partnership for a Drug-Free America.
Every day, people are afraid to report violent crimes. In times like these, choosing to report a crime or helping the police can be a difficult decision. A no-snitching culture has sprung up in our communities, making it unpopular and sometimes even dangerous to report a crime. Do the right thing by calling 911 or your local crime tip line. If you're the victim of a crime, report it. If you know about a crime, report it. To learn more about how to do the right thing, visit ncpc.org or contact your local law enforcement agency.
A message from the U.S. Department of Justice, National Crime Prevention Council, and the Ad Council.
Now, back with Glenn Larry on UFO Talk Radio, deep in the desert of Nevada.
And we are back with Tom T. Moore. And Tom, we were just talking about the magic of prayer, or prayer and magic, and when everybody gets together. Go ahead with that. I'm sorry.
Sure. Yeah. And so if you start with the mundane stuff, like a parking space in front of a grocery store or a busy post office, things like that, and you start doing these requests. First of all, when you go to my website at www.thegentlewaybook.com, you can click on the Gentle Way 1, 2, 3, 4, whatever, and read a couple of sample chapters. You don't even have to buy the book. It'll be enough to get you started on doing the mundane stuff. And then my blog that I put out every week, typically on Saturdays, has stories sent to me from people all over the world that are requesting benevolent outcomes.
Okay.
And they send me all these stories. So I've got hundreds and hundreds of stories.
And do you also put those in you do put those in your blog, of course.
I do.
Yeah.
I have, when they send me the stories, I put them in the blog first, then I put them in the newsletter.
Good.
A because I had different people reading different things.
A question came up from one of my folks in the audience. They were asking, why do they talk to you and they don't talk to scientists and other persons in the scientific community?
Well,
just
first of all, they don't believe they can. That's one reason. I'm open. Okay. I've never, and also I'm told I'm an extremely old soul, and I've done this in hundreds of previous lives.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. So,
well, the scientific
I'm
community
on my
is
1005th life. Most people that are taking part in the Earth experiment only have to have 600 to 800 lives.
Right.
I've got 300 more to go because of what I did for the Federation. And this dates all the way back a million Earth years. And I was, all my previous lives before Earth were as a spiritual leader on Nomo, this water world that Antura and I both come from.
Mm-hmm.
We're both from the same soul. And so we were in this real Star Wars. There was a Star Wars that went on for 27,000 universal years, and in Earth years, that was 270,000 years that this group of planets, 20,000 planets, were fighting, staving off these reptilians from another galaxy that were trying to take over these planets. And it was a nasty war. Billions and billions of people died during all that time. And so I was this little spiritual leader, and I suggested that we offer, as part of the Earth experiment, to have 10% of the souls taking part in the Earth experiment be reptilian. And all these planets hated the reptilians so badly because so many people had been killed and all that they refused to even consider the idea.
I've heard they're not
450
very nice.
universal years would go past, and finally they said, "Okay, we'll try it." And the reptilians accepted it, and we're at peace. Well, after that, the Federation wanted me as one of their main advisors, and so now all the souls on Earth that are either starting religions or are heading governments want me to be their advisor. That's why I've got 300 more lives to go.
I see now. That's a lot of lives.
Yes.
Tell you the truth, and you've got a lot of work to do,
I
guess.
They didn't want to tell me. I made them. I said, well, is it 100? Is it 300? Is it 500? Oh, no, it's only 300.
So now, what are you doing now on this Earth right now? But writing books and you're getting prepared for the mothership and whatever. Have you ever met? Have you ever experienced anything of these creatures below the Earth? Or, earlier said no, but are they here? Are they below the Earth? Now you said they were, but
oh no. Well, yes. Like just in the last week, I think someone was asking me about an underground city underneath Denver, and I was told, well, we've covered this a little bit in the past, Tom. There is an underground base under Denver, and there's all these tunnels that go all the way across the United States.
Mm-hmm.
But the question that was posed to me were people getting ready to learn how to be Americans, and walk the streets. And I was told, no, this is just part of gathering all these billions of readings on negative energy. But they use these tunnels to be able to travel freely from one place to another.
Okay. We're going to be back. Open the phone lines right after this little message here. I do want to remind you folks out there about the Pioneer Saloon. Oh, yes, there since 1913 in beautiful downtown Good Springs, Nevada. You get a chance. You have a lot of fun there, and Friday nights they have karaoke. and music during the daytime, Saturday and Sunday music, of course. And I tried out that Old Man whiskey. That's Old Man liver, I'll tell you. And pretty good stuff. Yeah, a lot of friends of mine, we go down and meet and have a good time down there. I see the spirits down there. I love the place, to tell you the truth. Food's fantastic. People are fantastic. Large place for parties and what have you. Get a chance to stop down and see my friends down there. Say hello to everyone. Great bartenders. Say hello to Steve, the owner. Steven, great man. Okay. If you want to get a hold of them, just say what's going on down there. 702-674-6809. That's the Pioneer Saloon in Good Springs, Nevada. Thank you for what you've done for us at beautiful Kagos Radio. Yeah. Okay. Tom, we're going to open the lines up, all right? And hope we'll get some calls. And folks, do call in this line. I'm going to let my buddy Ross give it to you.
To talk with Glenn Larry, deep in the desert of Nevada, lines are open at 1-702-874-1114. That's 702-874-1114. Now, here again, Glenn Larry.
And we're going to give that prompt line.
Prompt lines are open at 775-990-8275. That's 775-990-8275.
And we are back with Tom T. Moore. And Tom, give us more, would you please? Okay. So we've got a call coming in. Let's hit you with that first. How's that sound?
Okay.
Hello, caller. You're on the air of the Glenn Larry Show with Tom T. Moore. And what's your name? Where are you from?
Hello?
Yeah, where are you from, sir?
Hello?
Yes, hello. Can you hear us?
I can't hear it.
Huh. That's interesting. You have your phone up? Is it on mute by chance? We're all the way up here, so I can.
You can turn on your phone.
Maybe not.
Or you put on the live stream.
Testing 1, 2.
I guess you don't have to. That way we can live stream on the same time.
All righty. I'm gonna have to drop the call. We'll try again. I don't know what's working right. I don't know what's going on there. That does happen. Well, okay. 1114 is the number. The prompt line will take on that one. Okay. Hello, you there? Are you there with me?
You're a college student.
Hello. Are you there? You're live on the air. Hello.
That sounds better than most.
Hello. You're live on the air. Well, we're not getting anybody here for some reason. Huh.
I think it has me on a...
Okay, callers. Apparently 1114 is not working. We'll try another line here. Let me do this, and I'll do that. Drop this again. Reboot the hybrid. I can hear that, so I don't know why we're not getting anybody. Interesting. But so, Tom, we've got these people underground, and we don't know if they are, if they're violent, if they're the, when I say the...
Oh, no, none of these people are violent.
Okay.
They are no threat to us.
Caller, can you hear us?
They are simply here as scientists taking these billions of readings a day, billions, okay, as part of studying these 4 negative energies. And I've had my newsletter readers try and guess what the 4 negative energies are. Nobody has been able to yet.
Yeah.
And I'm told that sometime in the future, someone's going to get close, but they're just, first of all, there are no scientists even trying to study this because they don't even know they exist.
Right.
And as far as we're on a special space-time continuum that extends the length of our solar system. Once you get out past the Oort belt, that's when the 10 positive energies start kicking back in.
Right. So now, are there others underneath this Earth that we have here? Are there? May I ask?
Well, yeah. There are such societies that we can't see. They just love the caverns. They've got lights down there. These are naturally lit caverns.
Mm-hmm.
So there are people living there, but they don't want to have anything to do with it. But what I'm also saying is that when we start traveling
Go ahead.
solar system,
Uh-huh.
other stars,
Right.
we're going to find planets where people, because their planet is too, they have to live underground too.
Interesting.
And there are even caverns underneath our moon, as an example.
No, I've seen a lot. I've seen
I
a lot.
think
I've seen a lot of
underneath,
that. I've seen a lot of that. I've seen a lot of moon stuff going on. A lot of activity of things landing and taking off.
In a future flight to Mars, they're going, and there's a name. The name of the mountain is going to be called Brown Mountain. Why, I don't know. Brown Mountains. And they're going to discover caverns there. And instead of living on the surface, which is very hard to do on Mars, they're going to live in the caverns, which is going to be much easier for them to do. So that's where our colonists are going to wind up living.
Unbelievable. So from on top to below, we may go. What do you think? I mean, with this nuclear situation happening, for instance, are they going to stop these nukes from happening? They say that they may.
Yes.
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 Okay.
I'm told that Putin is probably going to be on his way out by the summer. We'll see.
Well, it's all politics. We'll see. Actually, we'll really see what's going on. To tell you the truth, you're right.
Just that there's going to be tens of thousands of more Russian soldiers, conscripts, that are going to be killed or wounded. It's really sad. So, but that's that's something that Putin will have to pay for in future lives.
Yeah. Well, we sit here. There's books and stuff that are out, and these good feel well books, these health books. I mean, the message that you are giving is what actually in your books? I mean, there's so many out there.
The message is that these ETs are friendly.
Okay.
These people that say, we got to watch out. We've got to develop destructive weapons for space. It's the biggest joke. I mean, can you imagine coming up against a 3-mile wide mothership that could easily blow anything out of the sky?
Right.
They're just here for scientific purposes. Okay, but there are people that want that of the what is it called, the war industrial complex or something like that.
Right.
I'm a little off on that. They want to make weapons because they make billions of dollars off the weapons, and that's what they're feeding all these lackeys of theirs, is to say that they don't know what these UFOs are, which is a lie, and that we've got to arm ourselves. That's their bottom line. Arm, make money.
On our space program right now, our special space program, is to protect us from the other guy, possibly from the aliens. You think?
Well, I mean, that's the reasoning. I mean, they know the aliens are not, violent to us. They're here for scientific. They also, we're not going to be allowed to join the Federation, which is what we're supposed to do one day, until we get rid of these weapons. They don't want some crazy people running around with weapons, going to all of these 20,000 planets that are members of the Federation of Planets. And that's just one federation, okay?
Yeah.
There's at least 2 more large federations just in this galaxy, and then there are smaller groups of planets that, do it for trade and safety and things like that. But the 20,000 planet federation is the largest.
Our one phone line is down. I don't know why. I can hear them. I can hear you. I can hear you. Are you there, caller? I cannot hear you. You can hear me in the background, but I cannot hear you. As you can hear, folks, in the background, we have them on the radio listening to us. This has happened before. I don't know if it's a voltage thing with the phone line with our hybrid system. Sometimes that happens if it's bad weather. We're not getting the full voltage through the one line, although I'm talking to you on another line, and that seems to be very well because you're talking right to me.
So while we're waiting,
yeah,
why don't we go over to some of the beings that are on
Let's do
Antura's
it. That
ship?
was my next question.
Okay,
go ahead.
Besides Antura, and he is an amphibian, okay, and in my book, First Contact Conversations with an ET, as I said, I had to ask him specific questions about what he looked like, and so he's the closest I've been able to find is the Abe Sapien character in the Hellboy movie, but Antura says he looks much more beautiful than that.
Oh, really?
and also, I never thought to ask him if he had a tail, and he does have sort of like a little triangular tail, and I didn't find that out till about, I don't know, a couple of years ago. I was so mad at myself for not ever thinking to ask him that question.
Tail.
But he only has one set of gills. They were originally more like fish. On his or our planet Nomo, which is only has 10% land on the whole planet. His people started out when we first settled on Nomo 18 million years ago, and I was one of the first ones to have a life on Nomo. But we had to live in caves because there was this big sort of whale-like fish that loved to eat little nomons, and so we had to live in caves where he couldn't get, and so the cities started building on top of the caves, bubble cities, 5,000 feet down, and so our bodies are more like a fish than they would be a mammal. Okay.
Interesting.
And but only one set of gills because we didn't become amphibious for I don't know, hundreds of thousands of years. I don't know how long that took. So that's Antura. Then there are plant beings and there are bird beings. There are two reptilians that he says keep themselves. The reptilians are not very friendly people, even
really
after a million Earth years.
Now, I've heard this, so I mean, I'm not. I like to say this.
And they're on the ship
Right.
in order to check on the people that are reptilian souls having lives on Earth, and that's what their job is. So they just kind of stick to themselves. Let's see what else. He says there are some beings that he can't describe because we don't have anything on Earth that looks like them that move across the floor with no motivation.
Right.
Motivation, is that the word? So, and he has three teammates in what's called this First Contact Grassroots team. And the girl he calls, I'm terrible on names. When I was trying to get Antura's name, I was going Antu, and one day he finally almost screams in my ear, Antura, like that. And that's how I got his name. But he calls her exotic, so I said, okay, I'm going to call her Exotic Girl. And she has something even more exotic than cat eyes. And,
really?
So anyway, she's an Exotic Girl. Then he's got one of the teammates is 7 feet tall, and then another teammate is like average height, and of course I'm connected to Antura. My daughter comes from the same planet that Exotic Girl comes from, and my son comes from the same planet that what I call Average Guy comes from. The 7-foot guy will, of course, be helping with our shoot, but he's not connected with anybody in my family.
Interesting. So your family's in on this whole thing too, then?
No, I'm just trying to protect them.
Okay.
If I can.
Yeah.
Because one day, Antura says, you're going to receive a message from me that will be leave absolutely no doubt in your mind. And it's going to say, we're going to come visit you to introduce ourselves. Mm-hmm. And so I'm going to have my doubts that that's going to happen all the way until they beam themselves down. They're going to bring a scout craft right over our house, but where nobody can see it, possibly masking inside a cloud.
Be pulled.
And they're going to beam themselves down and knocking on my back door.
Well, just come right through your house. They can just pop right in your living room.
Well, not in the living room, but they're going to knock on the back door. I'm going to bring them in and introduce them to my family.
Oh, okay. Okay. You can do it in more of a gentle way.
I hope so.
I know they can pop and pull you out, and you're gone.
Yeah.
And it's a whole different movie.
Not then. So they're going to introduce
for you.
themselves, and then they're going to say, well, in 2 weeks or 3 weeks, whatever it's going to be, I don't know. We want you to meet us at a park, and here's a list of all the equipment that you need. Keep in mind, they've already done this. Let's see, 11, 10, 9, 8, 7. Already done this five times in a row, so they know exactly what we're going to need.
Yeah, interesting. Okay, tell me where they can get your books, and give me your the website for you, and let us know. Go ahead.
Okay, it's www.thegentlewaybook.com. Okay, and you can sign up right on the front page. It's a free newsletter. It's my gift to the world. People have tried to, pay me before, and I send their checks back. And so you can go to my articles and news and do searches on there. Read my past newsletters. Almost every single newsletter has questions I ask Antura. And and also, of course, you can read sample chapters of First Contact Conversations with an ET, and all my other books, except for my newest one, which is called The Gentle Way with Pets, Angelic Help for Your Animal Companions, and I haven't gotten sample chapters up on that yet.
Okay, I have one more question for you. What about Elon Musk and SpaceX? What's going on there?
Well, I keep hoping he's going to be the guy. I've been told we're going to get a free energy machine, and it can. The first probabilities, and gosh, we can't get into probabilities. It's very, it's a long subject. But the first probabilities popped up last year, but now it's supposed to happen this year. That some big foundation, corporation, guy, whoever, is going to give the world a free energy machine with no patent. And it's going to change the world.
Okay.
I was hoping it might be even Musk, but I'm not sure.
You think it might be Bob Bigelow?
Could be Bigelow. Yeah. I mean, it's got to be somebody that has so much money that they don't care about making anything else, and they see they're going to be looked on favorably for hundreds of years.
Right. My gosh. Well, I want to thank you very much for coming on, Tom. Sorry about the lines. towards the end here, but we'll get those fixed. I'll be on the phone with the phone company tomorrow. Trust me. But that's a radio for you. But anyway, I do thank you for coming on. We're going to have you on again, and it has been very interesting. We're talking to Tom T. Moore, everybody. And again, you want to go to www.thegentlewaybook.com. Check them out. A lot of stuff going on. A lot of stuff, a lot of information. You have a lot there. I'll tell you for sure. Again, thank you so very much, my friend. Be well.
Okay.
And I can say happy trails to all, right?
And benevolent outcomes for everyone.
There you go. Thanks again, Tom. Be well.
Thank you.
Again, thank you so much, everybody. We'll see you next Tuesday night. I am Glenn Larry with K-Ghost Radio, UFO Talk Radio. You listen, we'll talk. Be well, play nice together. Love you all. Thank you very much.